And now it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce another absolutely fabulous person. And Johnny introduced himself earlier in our program, but I just and like Giles, you have a huge number of accomplishments and positions that you didn't speak to
You're too kind.
in your introduction. But I'd just like to say that it's a privilege and a pleasure once again to be working here with you as a co-principal investigator on this project. And from my perspective, you are, I think, the person in Aotearoa that has the most knowledge about advanced preference statements and certainly has the most passion about them. So over to you. Thank you, Johnny.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. And I certainly endorse Giles' statement that it's going to be hard to follow Hori, we, and Giles. And I am kind of the fill-in for this. And so what I'm going to talk to you today is about our work in Southern around maps. Just quickly going over the original piece of work so that you will have a little understanding of that as I explain our newer piece of work, which is Pou Herenga and Kimiora. So I'll start off by sharing a little bit about our work in Southern on creating and implementing advanced preference statements, which we call maps. And this is our original team from the beginning. So Jesse, who's in the audience, Tony, who's in the audience, Professor John Dawson was one of our legal brains as well as Jesse, Katie, who's in the audience, Heather, who's retired now and moved on, and Professor Glue, who's a psychiatrist who's incredibly busy at the moment. And so this was a wonderful team, and we were sort of at University of Otago, Southern District Health Board, and University of Auckland at the time. It's slightly different now. And so what I'm going to just describe is what are maps. So maps are a statement of preferences, and they're useful at times of stress when the person may not be able to communicate their preferences. So maps are not a directive, and that's the language that we've used as maps rather than advanced directive. And maps are not just about treatment, and that's another reason as well. Advanced directives, in my opinion, are specifically about treatment, whereas maps, mental health advanced preference statements, also include the person's personal preferences about many things. And the reason why it's been such an important subject for me and why it's been an important project for me, and I've been really lucky to be working with such magnificent people who have really made this a great piece of work, both from Southern and now with Te Kiti Rongamo, is it gives the person a voice. And that's the really important thing. That's kind of the crux. Whether they are considered competent or not competent, it's a voice for them when they may be too distressed to give a voice. And so mental health advanced preference statements help with supported decision-making when the person's at their most distressed. If they're able to provide their voice, then they're not quite as useful because hopefully people will listen to the person's voice as well. So there are many different names for this process: joint crisis plans, psychiatric advanced directives, wellness recovery action plans, advanced statements, and maps. And the maps process assists the person to make decisions about things that are really important to them. And the things that if they became too unwell, they want communicated to the treating team because that's the most important things that are happening in their lives. And so why have maps? They're a good way to make sure that the person has a say in decisions, and they can include a variety of things that are important to the person. And so what can you include? And so some of the things that people believe are most important to help them back to their well-being in everyday life, and the kind of treatments that work best for the person, and who they want involved in their care, and the things in their personal life that are important to them if they are if they become unwell, and they can be used to help them get peace of mind. So we also have a roadmap, and which I'll show you shortly. But the person knows what works best for them. I've always believed that I know certain things about myself, and other people know things about me that I don't know about myself. But I know a lot about myself, and I know the things that would work best for me. And I'm sure a lot of people who use our services know what works best for them as well. And this is a way of increasing their participation in care, and it gives the clinicians a better tool to understand the person. And as I mentioned before, a voice. And so this is our roadmap. So this is the kind of, from a lot of listening groups that we did. I think we might have had 9, one including whānau, and we also had a consumer survey and a staff survey. And from that, we got quite a lot of information. And from that, we developed some domains, and what I would like to have happen, what I do not want to have happen, who should be contacted when I'm in crisis, who I do or do not wish to have included in my care, and then managing my personal affairs, preferences, and other relevant information. And so this was developed by Katie with help from her husband. And so that's really just to show you what maps are. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm hopefully going to share a screen with you about Pou Herenga. And so Pou Herenga is our Māori-supported decision-making tool. And as you would have heard from Joel's presentation, that there is quite a lot of inequity for Māori in mental health services. And if in any way Pou Herenga is a way that will help the tangata whaiora whānau to be able to have a voice in their care, I think this is something that may really be beneficial for people. So where we got Pou Herenga from was Daniel Tawaroa and his wife Leoma and myself went on a little bit of a road trip around the South Island to a few places, and what we did was, oh, by the way, this is the rest of the team around Pou Herenga. So that's Jesse, Katie, Tony, Kath, Paul, and Heather was involved a little bit, as well as obviously Daniel and his wife. And what we did was there were 7 hui around the South Island, and we were so fortunate that whānau gave us the knowledge so generously. And 4 of these hui were on a marae, 1 in the community setting, and there was also 2 for Māori staff within mental health services. And these hui were conducted following a Māori process that guided engagement with the whānau participants and laid the foundation for the engagement. And the participants all had either lived experience of mental health services as tangata whaiora or whānau, iwi representatives, or kaimahi. And so what is Pou Herenga? So Pou Herenga is the traditional term for a mooring post. It's where travelling whānau would land, fix and secure their waka, taking the appropriate time to karakia, rest, reflect, and replenish their stocks and resources before continuing the journey. So this comes from the Wanganui area, and I was told in no uncertain terms from Jason Haitana that it tends to be a boulder. So that the mooring place or post is a boulder. In mental health services, Pou Herenga can emphasise the need for tangata whaiora to arrive, to replenish their wairua, to find their calm, plan so they can continue their life's journey. Pou Herenga represents an opportunity to take stock of individual and whānau wants and needs, ensuring the time is spent healing and productive and culturally safe. And unlike the concept of maps, which highlights movement and the journey being travelled, Pou Herenga, in contrast, focuses on the importance of stopping and finding calm. So the model Pou Herenga, which we've got a model for it, comes from Te Pai Mahutonga, which is the name for the constellation of the stars, popularly referred to as the Southern Cross. And there are 6 domains in Te Pai Mahutonga. And so when I show you the domains for Pou Herenga, there's 7. We've added 1 extra one for that. But I just want to just show you a couple of the themes that came out of the hui. So where's the Maori in this framework? Because we're still jumping through the Pākehā's hoop to make a Maori thing, no matter where we're going. And I understand what you're trying to do, and I understand this maps, which I've explained in the previous slides. And it's a good concept, like everybody's saying, but why do we still have to justify ourselves being Maori to a Pākehā system? And so one of the dominant themes that has emerged from the work was a sense that although the current maps instrument was a good tool and could be valuable for rangatahi, it would not be appropriate to place a Maori lens over the existing maps, as this lacked any Maori cultural considerations. And I think that's really valuable feedback. And so a couple of other themes that came up is when we look at Rongoa Māori, we look much more broadly, we look at the way of karakia, of mihi whakatau, whānau involvement, and all those Māori processes, because that's what does heal us as Māori. And kai is huge in any of our processes, and that's one of the things missing from doing this particular process, is that we can't sit down and eat together. Perhaps in the near future we will. And particularly work in a starting process. So I think that needs to be accounted for now that it's not in the way MAPS is designed, but actually if we're going to consider what works for people genuinely, then we have to consider that for tangata Māori and whoever else, that kai is part of that. And so that was from a female clinical staff. And so of those themes, as well as other things, it's the importance of having wairua within secondary services by recognising the person's cultural needs, such as rongoa, traditional healing in Māori medicine, karakia, so that's prayer and incantations to invoke spiritual guidance and protection, which is really important, and waiata, and as you saw with we and Hori before, and including waiata in songs, and muri muri and rumi rumi, holistic massage therapies, and kaioranga, rebuilding and reinserting traditional knowledge of growing food to promote overall wellness, and reintroduction of traditional cultural practices such as raranga weaving and the importance of preparing kai and food. So as I move on to the barriers, and this was from a peer support worker, so somewhere along the line we've got to give our whānau the means to uplift them so that they will question and they will demand. They need to be demanding consumers of the service so that they get what they want for their whānau member. But lots of our people are sort of like, well, you're the professional, you know what's best, I'll just listen to what you're saying, I won't say anything. And I might think to myself that this is not right, but I won't say it. And there's a lot of that. And I think one of the reasons that I know that Daniel, who was going to give this presentation today, but couldn't do it, and so I've kind of filled in with my own kind of version of it, and I'm sure his would have been a lot better. And the reason why this particular piece of work was so important to him was watching his brother going through hospital, and then his father not really understanding what's going on and feeling powerless. And I think that's where this tool, Pou Herenga, and the next set of slides, which I'll show you, which is Kimiora, is a way of actually being able to engage with tangata whaiora, to engage with whānau in a really meaningful way. And so the hui participants were quite clear about what they perceived to be some of the major barriers to Māori receiving culturally appropriate and inclusive care from existing mental health services. Some participants claimed that whānau were using their own resources when the standard clinical approach didn't work. And there was a feeling that systemic shortcomings and lack of Māori leadership from Māori services meant that services were not responsive and were fragmented. And they identified a clear need for cultural assessments to be done by Māori who understood Te Ao Māori. And so what I have here is the domains of Pou Herenga, and we haven't trialled this yet. It's about to be trialled in the near future. And the way that we'll trial it, which is what I will show you next. So the kind of thing that was very important for my journey was knowing who I was and where I came from. And so that was kind of my beginning to heal in a lot of ways. And so you can see the domains, and the domains do line up with Te Pai Mahutonga. But it's also about, thinking about what the Pou Herenga process is and who will the the Pou Herenga process. What will the Pou Herenga process do, and how will the Pou Herenga process enhance Te Ao Māori? And it's also about who is responsible for the individual's wairua when they're in the mental health services. And so this work that we'll be doing with Māori staff and non-Māori staff. And both the MAPS tool and Pou Herenga will be available for Māori and non-Māori, and they can choose whichever one suits them the most, so there will be no differentiation. And when I talk to you shortly about Kimi Ora, it's going to be about the way that our services deliver that kind of model, hopefully. Toira is concerned with our personal behaviour and lifestyle, and the way we choose to live our lives, and our tinanas, our waka o te wairua, and how is our waka holding up, and how is our kai and our sleeping and our daily routines, and what are the things that are causing problems in our lives. So what I might just do now is quickly move on to Kimi Ora. And so Kimi Ora is the kawa and tikanga that we it's the kawa and tikanga that we'll be able to deliver to our staff, Māori and non-Māori. And it's the Māori framework that we will have to deliver Pou Herenga, and to also, hopefully, it will become a Māori model of practice for our mental health services. And it's going to be a journey of well-being for whānau. And so Kimi is to seek, to search, to look for, to quest, to hunt for, to be alive, to be well. And Kimi Ora helps to express a person's commitment to the tikanga journey. And so with both of these tools, we're going to kind of create a model, a Māori model of practice. And hopefully it will be a model of practice for our mental health services. It'd be really lovely to have those things as the key documents within Southern. And so with Kimi Ora, our aim is to develop a preferred Māori model of practice. So that's a model of practice for our kaiawhina of Te Huinga Tahi, which is in Southland, and Te Arahoa in Dunedin. And it's going to be based on a Porphyry Potama model, and it's beyond the mihi. So Kimi Ora is focused on identifying the touch points. So that's the positive opportunities that exist, and also the pressure points, and it's identifying the possible negatives. And so it's understanding the dynamic, the whānau dynamic, and the diverse realities of whānau, and the diverse realities of Māori, and identifying active whānau contributors, connectors. So it's going to really be dependent on us working well with whānau. And when I use the word whānau in this sense, I'm thinking about the tangata whaira and the whānau as the one entity. So with the mana o te aki, it's how or what can we do to enhance the positive opportunities, and what can we do to mitigate the negatives within the person, within the whānau. Te Piringa is the bridging function. What can I do to enhance the whole of whānau approach to well-being, and what can we as a service do to enhance a whole of staff approach to well-being? And so that's the kind of way that we'll be working with all of our staff. Te Marama, bringing the whānau aspirations to life. So what are the key actions or resources that will support the whānau from the hospital to the home? And what are the available Southern DHB resources or services? So could be social workers, could be chaplaincy, could be self-help and website support, and staff and service information. And Kimi Haere, what resources and services available in our community here in Southern? So it could be Ngākete, could be Awarua whānau services, whānau ora, or MSD. So it's being able to know those resources and connect them with the whānau, and then the ongoing support and connection with the whānau as well. And so Kimi Ora Maps is based on the Porphyry Potama model, as I mentioned, and it's about meaningful whānau engagement, whānau encouraged to guide or direct the tikanga support pathway. And it starts off with establishing and strengthening relationships right at the beginning and embedding meaningful Māori concepts of oranga wellbeing, manaakitanga, aroha, whakapapa, whanaunatanga, and whānau. And as I mentioned before, the mihi whakatau, the ritual of the engagement. And this is the beginning of the journey, and it goes beyond the common greeting and focuses on meaningful manaakitanga extended to whānau. And we want that to be really consistent to all whānau that use our services. So Kimiora will ensure tikanga practices are guided by whānau and will focus on strengthening whānau, iwi and community connection, as I've mentioned. And Wairua support can be arranged, including connection to kaumatua iwi, Pokarakia and whānau will guide us along the journey. So as I mentioned, to bring in the bridging function, so it's ensuring that cultural tikanga support to whānau and to the mito staff, so that's what will set up to be provided by our Māori leadership team in Southern, and understanding and communication during the process that whānau may opt for alternative tikanga support during their Kimiora journey. And Kimiora will ensure tikanga tohono, so ongoing support and connection for whānau. So that seems to be, and is the theme, is that it's a two-way communication all the time with the whānau, and with the aim of in allowing the person to go on that journey through our services and back into the community and follow on with their life in a way that is meaningful to them. And so once again, that's Pou Herenga, and that's the Kimiora and MAPS pathway that we've developed. So it's a sort of a circle that can go more than one way, but it's a tikanga-informed engagement. It's establishing that safe space for whānau in our wards, in our areas, and allowing them the place and time to be able to recover and to move forward at a time that suits them, in the same way that travelling whānau did when they were moving around the country. And so it's establishing the winds of calm and working together with te reo, if te reo is needed, with wairua, karakia, te reo, karakia, whakapapa and tūpuna. And it's establishing the person's pathway. Ka kimi i te ora, i te ao, i te pō. So in search of the wellness in the day and of the night. So I'm really excited for this work, and I do hope that it's a piece of work that we're able to kind of move forward with. So that's pretty much it from me, Sarah, and I'm not sure if there'll be any questions or not, but I do hope that's been a meaningful presentation for you. And I really, really apologise that Daniel, who is kind of the driver, as well as me, around this piece of work, can get on with it. And I just have to say, blowing my own trumpet, which I have just started to do just recently since my self-esteem has improved slightly. It is kind of like the first Indigenous supported decision-making tool in the world. There probably are others, but it's the first one that's kind of gone out and been published. And hopefully it's that there will be places, and I'm really, really certain that with Lakes and Waikato will develop a tool and a model that's going to be equally as beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Another fabulous presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I've seen some things going up the screen. I'm not entirely sure how you do it, but there was a heart.
Yeah, you go to reactions and you click on a reaction, and when you click on it, and the heart goes up the screen, which means
heart. Yeah. There's a thumbs up, lots of thumbs up. There's someone crying, I think. I don't know why they'd be doing that, but anyway.
So that there's joy, Sarah.
Oh, didn't look very joyful.
Yeah.
Claps. Really, is that Joy? Don't know. There's something else. It's like a little fairy. Anyway, just I
Yeah,
think it's all very positive.
yeah, I think so.
We've got
Lots of time.
comment, kia ora, Johnny, nicely done.
Thanks, Jesse.
So how do you know who's doing it?
Earlier, Jesse said that she was Rachel
Oh, okay.
by mistake. It could be Rachel, because yeah.
So Tony O'Brien, thanks for that very comprehensive overview, Johnny, and congratulations on achieving this Indigenous model. And Rachel has just posted that it's Jesse, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure what's going on there.
So
But,
please feel free to capture or trap me with a really complicated question that I wouldn't have been able to answer that Daniel could have.
So, yeah, still wanting your questions and your comments to be coming through. And they might be for Johnny or any of the other presenters. So we, Hori, and Giles, just yeah, anything that you've got to say, please do so now, because otherwise I'm just going to have to keep on talking, which is not going to be good. Do you want to discuss why we are looking to lakes in Waikato to create their own version of Pou Herenga or maps and not use what we have already done?
Yeah, so we're not the so they haven't seen that, Jesse, and the groups that we did with lakes, and we had an amazing turnout of 60 whānau. So from the feedback from that, Jesse, we will be looking at the Matiki Mai model with the Kāwanatanga and the Tino Rangatanga sphere. So within the Tino Rangatira sphere, we'll develop a tool for lakes and a tool for Waikato, and they will call it what's important to them. So it'll be a supported decision-making tool in the same sense as Pou Herenga, but not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and really the reason for that is our belief that it's that we need to privilege what's important to these individual communities, and so the tools will reflect what they've told us. So superb mahi, Johnny. What an amazing achievement.
Oh, thank you, Deborah.
Very proud of you. You're not meant to say the person before I do.
Oh, sorry.
So that comes from Deborah Cracknell.
Deborah's a NESP coordinator, New Entrance to Specialty Practice coordinator.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Deborah. And this is Jessie again. Jessie pretending to be Rachel. Again, not sure who else is on the discussion, but yes, that was what I wanted you to bring up. This is not really inventing the wheel, but empowering. Yeah. So that's that. Any final questions or comments? So I think we might be looking to finish a bit earlier, perhaps. but so this is our this has been our first community symposium, and thank you for all that have participated. We will have one of these every year and look to build on it each time and look to perfect our processes a bit more. And just to let you know, so the first year of our project has been around the consultation with the communities of Waikato and Lakes and getting their input into what they tell us is important for inclusion in an advance preference statement and how they want to develop it. The next stage is the second year will be focused on implementation, so developing the resources and the processes, and then the last year focused on evaluation of the impact of the implementation of advanced preference statements. I would like to thank once again all the presenters today. I would also like to thank those people who have been in the background supporting the running of this webinar. So that would be Rachel, our project manager, and just person extraordinaire who helps us to deliver this project. Katie, who is in charge of our fabulous website and communication through that. And finally to Armin, who has been the person overseeing the preparation and the delivery of this this webinar today. So on that note, I will hand back to you, Johnny, for any final comments before we close.
Thanks, Sarah. I don't really, I've kind of been ducking all over the place because I got a message about people not being able to access the chat, and then they're just because they came in late and they're able to get to the Q&A finally. But wonderful facilitation, Sarah. You did an amazing job. I'm just truly, I feel we're truly blessed with the quality of people that we have on this project, and with the presentations from Hori, Rawakoi, and also Giles. And an absolute big thanks again to you, Rachel and Amon. Amazing work behind the scenes. You've organised a fantastic hui, and I'm so proud to be a member of this team. And I will be quite honoured to close with a karakia whakamutanga, Sarah, at this stage.
Kia ora.
Unuhia, 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 ki te ura tapanui, kia wātia, kia mama tanako, te tinana, te wairua, ki te ara tangata, ko ia rā e rongo whakairihia, aki ki runga kia tina, hui e tae ki ia.